Let's go back. Let's go back to the time before there were funnels, sales funnels, and hashtags, and Instagram, and Facebook Reels, and all these different things. Swipe up links and TikTok. People actually bought things from people that they trusted, from people who were solving problems. People bought bread, for example, from bakers that they knew and that they trusted. They visited doctors or healers that really listened to them and understood their issues. They weren't so much transactions. They were more transformations, in that people would identify core principles of what really could help another individual. The same principle holds true today. At the heart of every thriving business, there is a simple truth. And once we grasp this, we're able to really transform being able to offer information versus being able to, put a price tag on it. And that is, can you solve a real problem? Can we, within our passion, within our work, the things that we want to do, are we really solving a problem? Here's the modern twist. In today's crowded marketplace, people are many times overwhelmed by the options that exist, but still underwhelmed by the real connection and the value that they're getting. Many times they're underwhelmed because what they were sold doesn't really meet what they anticipated receiving. Most creators, like us, lead with, here's what I'm selling. But the question to your audience actually is, how can you help me? I was told a long time ago, when internet was first being internet, and this was really kind of before Google. Google, I think, struck gold because Google was able to create a path toward questions. When people go to your website, when people go to Google, when people go to YouTube, 9 times out of 10, they're asking a question because they need something, or they want something, they desire something. And so the question is, from the audience, from your potential audience, how can I help you? And this certainly is something that I've had to ask myself over the course of this podcast, because not only is that my goal, but that is the way that I want to interact with you. How can I help you? Can I bring you some information that heretofore you maybe did not know, didn't have access to, didn't understand? How can I help you to develop yourself more, better, and these sorts of things? So that's what we're talking about today on the podcast. When you show up with the intention of helping your potential customers, you can attract from a place of purpose and not pressure. And that's when manifestation becomes magnetic. That's when manifestation becomes magnetic, because we're in a very crowded marketplace. Even if you niche down, a lot of times we're still in the crowded marketplace. And the determining factor a lot of times is you, the person, the individual. So today's day 16, and we are solving, not selling. Solving, not selling. This is the heart of the offer. So yesterday we were into everyone has a gift. What's yours? We walked through the ideas of how to uncover your gift, your passion, the thing that you want to offer to your audience. And today we're talking about how to begin to craft a proposal, if you will, to your audience. And the first things first, what problems are we solving? Okay, how is our audience thinking? Not how are we thinking. Your audience is asking, how can you help me? And that's the question that we all should be answering. No matter what product or service we're offering, we should always know at the core, the audience, the client, the customer is asking, how can you help me? Guys, welcome into the podcast. Really excited to have you in today. We're building. This is day 16. We are a little more than halfway through our complete series, 30 Days to Manifestation and Monetization. At the end, of course, we end up with the revenue stream based around our passion, the thing that we really desire to do, the thing that, our God-given talent, our ability to help those around us. And we're crafting a way, we're helping you understand how to put this package together, how to think about these offers, how to help people, but also how to help people to want to purchase your product or your service. So as we go through this today, maybe get out a pen and a pad if you're not driving or, doing something in an automobile or heavy machinery, and take some notes. And don't forget, I don't know how many of you guys have gone and done so, but we do have a very extensive workbook that is in our show notes that all you have to do is download. It's electronic. It can be on your smart devices, on your laptop, whatever. It can help you keep up with everything you need in order to fulfill these 30 days, because you're not going to retain all this, right? You're going to have some sort of archive to go back to and make sure that you covered all your bases. So I suggest you go and get the workbook. I don't even know if we're charging for that. I think it may be free or like $5 or something like that. But just look into the show notes. It's there to help. If this is your first time, guys, please make sure that you like or subscribe, whatever the platform is that you're on that's asking you to do, so that you don't forget who we are and where we are. And if you want to support the podcast, and I want you to want to support the podcast, you can do that in the show notes as well. We've got plenty of digital products already available for you that can help you in many ways, from losing weight to managing your time better. Got a lot of things. Just click the link and go to our website, and you can go to our digital shop there, and you can see a lot of the courses, different things that we have. We do have courses as well, and we also offer coaching. So if you're interested in any of that interests you, please make sure that you click the show notes to get in touch with us. All right. Old timers, thank you guys so much for continuing to support the podcast. Drop us a note. You can do it very easily. We have a mechanism in our show notes that all you got to do is click on it, and it says send me a text, and that will come straight to us, straight to me. Tell us how you're liking the series, and maybe if you got any questions or some things you want us to look into. Whatever you like to do, we love when you are communicating with us. So let's get into it. What's the opportunity for today? Well, selling before understanding. We get excited about the idea of getting something sold, making some money. We get excited about features and forget about feelings. Here's how that looks. Here's how that plays out. You launch a course on goal setting, for example, but your audience is stuck in self-doubt. So you're kind of missing the boat. Or you post reels about your product, but your viewer doesn't know how it will change their day, how it will change their lives. You offer a coaching session, for example, but you haven't addressed the fear they feel about actually investing in themselves. And what's the result of these things? You might get likes, but you're not necessarily going to get conversions. And now you got to start thinking more as a business owner. We want to help people, and yes, we want to get our name and product out into the marketplace, so the likes and the comments are all good. But what are we really shooting for? We're shooting for the conversions. You're going to spark the curiosity, but not trust. Okay? So what if your marketing was just a conversation between you and someone that was silently struggling? And your offer, your digital product, your service, your demo, whatever it is, your idea, what if that was the answer? What if that was their answer and they didn't know how to ask for it? What if that was the answer and they themselves didn't know how to ask for it? So instead, why don't we do things like this? Buy my journal. Let's drop that. Substitute this with, this can help you manage anxiety in 5 minutes a day. Okay? Now, within the journal what's there and how it can help people. But if you just constantly, and believe me, I'm kind of working through a lot of this myself, because this year was the first year we started offering things for sale. And so I had to learn all this too, which is why now I'm sharing it with you, because, once you know better, you do better. Instead of just putting a product out and say, hey, we have a journal now, say, hey, specifically, this can help you keep track of, of your day, or this can help you to manage your weight loss. This can help you manage your anxiety in 5 minutes a day. It's more specific, and then they understand the benefits, or at least some of the benefits of your journal. Here's another example. Here's my course. Maybe you put it out and then say, hey, guys, I have this nice podcast, and here's my course, 31 days to new self-concept, which actually we do have. If I just put it out like that, or if I can say, hey, here's a step-by-step guide or a way for you to get unstuck without burning yourself out. You see how more specific that second one is? Here's a step-by-step guide or way for you to get unstuck without burning yourself out. Now, these are simple adjustments that you can make in terminology that can build bridges and not barriers. And it can really help to boost your conversions and help your customer or future customer understand what your product or service can do for them. Because remember, the core question is, can you help me? How can your product, how can your service help me? Okay. All right, so we have some ways in which we can incorporate some technique. And of course, I have 5 of them. I'm going to go through them right now. Here are our solutions. What do we want? We want value-based marketing. We want value-based marketing mindset. So I want you to put your thinking cap on, your business owner thinking cap on, your entrepreneur thinking cap on, and we're thinking value-based marketing. Okay, that's our mindset. So what if you stop pitching for a second and start listening, start understanding? What if instead of content creation, you called it problem solving? Okay. What if instead of content creation, you called it problem solving? Here's a roadmap. Here's what that could look like. Number 1, find the pain point. I'm almost telling you exactly what I do when I come up with show ideas here for the podcast, because why would I sit and talk to you about something that's not a pain point for you? Why would I do that? Number 1, it's of no interest to you, perhaps. Number 2, you may not listen, which is what I don't want you to do. And number 3, if I'm providing some sort of solution, that you would need to purchase, you're not going to be interested because that's not a pain point for you. So one of the things that I had to do when I first started this podcast was identify where pain points were. So you may have already recognized that we usually cover those areas where people are mostly interested in, and it's usually like a top 3. So there's a health arena, which is health and wellness. It can be physical or mental health, of course. Weight loss and physical well-being, also mental well-being, etc. And then there is relationships. Relationship would be number 2. And then number 3 is, your finances or career or entrepreneurship, things like that. Those are the top 3. And really, those are the building blocks, sort of the foundation of most people's lives. And people are very interested in those. So we center our information around, somewhere in that area. Okay. So what you have to decide is, if it's not that area, what area are you concentrating in? What does your product or service offer a client or potential client? Okay. So find that pain point. Start by understanding what the real problems are. Survey your audience, listen to their comments, watch the behaviors, and understand what's keeping them stuck. I'm going to tell you what we've started doing this year that I wish I was doing, much earlier, but you know what you know when you know it, right? And that's why, being a lifelong learner is important, and you trying to seek out information is also important, which is why I'm also giving you this information virtually for free, because we had to learn this the hard way. When you begin to understand, your audience pain points, you can begin to cultivate some sort of solution. Okay. What do I mean? So, social media is really good with interacting with potential clients. If you have, a product or service, you should also have a corresponding social media platform. And I guess at this point, it doesn't matter what it is. We prefer Instagram. Thank you guys so much for following us on Instagram. I don't really know TikTok yet, so we're getting in the TikTok arena. But the short, quick, messages are usually what people gravitate toward. But it must be effective because, back up a little bit. We talked a little earlier about how people get overwhelmed with options. There are people flooding these platforms with, potential solutions. And listen, I think you would know at this point, about clickbait and things like that. That certainly exists. And AI, people are just putting things up to generate a lot of activity on their channels because you get paid that way as well. What we want to offer is actual solutions. Okay. So that's how you, as an individual, your personality stands out. The reason I brought up social media is because once you put up posts, you can begin to determine who's interacting with what. You could put up 4 posts, okay? Let's say 2 of them people really didn't correspond with, but the other two got a lot of correspondence. But there was one of that four that got like double or triple the amount of correspondence that the other ones did. That's an indication that people are resonating with whatever that message was. Okay. And that's what we do now. So we post daily. And we do encouraging messages. We do daily updates. We do a lot of different types of posts. But really, the underlying thing we're trying to do is get a sense of what people are resonating with. And it gives me a sense of what to talk about next and what other products we could offer to our audience. I wish I had my Instagram up right now. Actually, I do. I'm going to hang in there, guys. This is a spare of the moment. So I'm going to give you a real live example of how this works. So if I'm looking at my Instagram right now, the last couple of days, we had several posts and some get more interaction than others. So let's say I posted 3 posts in a day. And this particular post says, these are like daily confirmations and kind of affirmations and areas that kind of help uplift people. So the problem is I keep comparing myself to others. So we have a problem and we have a solution. So I keep comparing myself with others. And then at the bottom, it says reclaim your energy with scroll detox and self-appreciation exercises. Something very short, simple. And of course, in the description, if people want to get in touch with us or follow the podcast and things like that, they can come here to get more on how to do that. Okay, that's the goal. Get in and get out. Offer a little carrot. This is, substantial, but it's very brief. If you want to learn more, come to the podcast. Now, that got, some interaction. But on the same day, I posted another post that says this: I constantly replay negative thoughts. That's the problem. All right. So the objective, we have a problem on our little post. And then at the bottom, we have a solution. And of course, if you want to learn more, come to the podcast. The problem is I constantly replay negative thoughts. And at the bottom, it says, break that loop with what if up scripts that rewire mental momentum. Most people don't know what if up scripts are. So they got a lot of interaction and a lot of comments. So people could begin to follow you online by offering, these little snippets. But of course, you got to follow up. You got to make sure that you are in line to receive them. You have a website and different things like that where people can go, or a podcast, somewhere people can go and consume additional information and begin to develop trust with you. And once your folks begin to develop trust with you, and then you can put them into, products and things like that. Now, will people just buy stuff off the just because? Sometimes they will, depends on what it is. But I think once you develop trust with your audience, and I'm getting way ahead of myself, but once you develop trust with your audience, that's the best way for them to want to not only buy from you, but buy in the future as well. So let's summarize that, find the pain point, because I went off on a little tangent. If you want to find the pain point, that is start by understanding the real problem. That means you got to do some research. Especially if you've never have experienced a problem yourself, and you don't have to. But if you, like for me, I've never struggled with weight loss, but I know it's a real issue. I personally haven't struggled with it, so I need to make sure that I understand the complexities of weight loss and what people are dealing with in that environment. Survey your audience, listen to their comments. I gave you some examples here, what we do here on our social media platform, at least one of them. Watch their behaviors. Okay, watch and see what they're saying on your social media platforms. And even if you just do a poll, there's so many ways for you to gather information on what people think. You can do a blog, you can do all sorts of things. Okay, so that's number one. Step number 2 is create the relief. Your product should feel like a sigh of relief to your client or potential client, not just an option. Okay. So there are degrees to pain, right? If you're in constant pain, let's say if you have like constant back pain, or, you see these commercials on TV a lot. Let's say if people are in pain in their physical body, it won't be very difficult, I think, to get people to try your product if you're offering something that looks relatively legitimate and something that's going to get their pain away. I don't care if it's back pain or leg pain or this I forgot what it's the technical term, but when your leg jumps at night and you poor circulation, it can be hemorrhoids, it can be anything that is really creating pain in a person's body. That's pretty easy to sell because people want the pain to go away quickly, right? But what if it's mental? What if it is less intense and doesn't require opioids and things like that? Is your job as the creator of this product or service to demonstrate and to illustrate to your client or potential client how this can solve your problem, your fear, your overwhelm, your doubt, your shame, your confusion, your weight loss, your relationship problem, whatever it is. You got to create the relief, create the scenarios that they're looking for. If it's a relationship problem, say, hey, this particular product, let's say it's a course. We've developed a course that has brought couples together after years of separation. We've developed a course that has husbands and wives talking by the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because at the end of this, they want maybe some resolve. So create that. Now, don't falsely create it. Of course, you want to have a product that's doing that, but that is the intent. Create the relief. That's number 2. Number 3, shift the language. Use storytelling. Say things like, before this, I felt like this, or now I feel like this, or I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, for example. Here's how I got through it. I know what it feels like to be overweight. I know what it feels like to be, not confident or insecure. Whatever that pain point is, tell them in a more of a story and less scientific way. Okay. Number 4, serve first, sell second. Serve first. Let your free content offer micro solutions. Provide some sort of solution in what you're giving away. Let your paid product be full transformation. Let it just be overwhelmingly full of stuff that they need. You want them to say, man, this I got more than what I paid for. The energy of I see you is more powerful than buy now. They want to feel like, okay, this person really genuinely is concerned about people, particularly me, and this is helping me. That's number 4. Serve first, sell second. And then step number 5 is build trust with clarity. Be clear about what you're doing. Let your offer feel like a roadmap. Okay, first we're going to go here, then we're going to go there. This shouldn't be a mystery. It shouldn't be hard to use. It should always be intuitive. Think about Apple. Think about iPhones. I don't know anyone who's ever looked at an owner's manual in order to use an iPhone. It is so intuitive. A kid can, as soon as you turn it on, it's easily, you can figure it out. Things are just intuitive. Show what's included, what it's used for. This is your product now or service, and how it's going to help you solve your problem. Be specific. Your trust grows with clarity. Okay. I personally am aware of that because our podcast numbers grow. I would think you guys are listening over time. One of the nicest messages that we received was on our Facebook page from a fan who said, hey, I've been listening since day one. Like, I'm one of the old heads. I've been listening since day one. And I'm really proud of that because not only did we kind of change our format, we niched down into an area that maybe she didn't jive with, but she jives with it because she's still listening today. Okay, so let your trust grow in clarity. Be very clear on what it is that your product or service offers. Okay. All right, let's summarize what we talked about today. You don't need more hype. What you need is more help. Offer help. So when you become the go-to solution, and you can be, even in areas where it seems to be flooded, the marketplace is flooded. Now, I could give you some examples, but I think I'm going to go off on a tangent if I start talking about Disney. Well, actually, let's talk about it real quick. So I'm a big Disney nerd, and I love watching Disney content from different creators. And there's so many people going to Disney parks around the world, particularly Disney World, where you can just get flooded with just like, why would I watch this one? And I mean, it's the same park and it's the same attractions and it's the same parades, blah, blah, blah. Well, what becomes the difference? The difference is the personality of the person that's bringing you the information. The difference is the integrity or the continuity that you feel with that particular vlogger. And that's why you connect with him. I love to watch live. Sometimes when I'm working, I'll just have YouTube on and people are walking through the park. What's the difference? Because tons of people do that. The difference is the personality of the person that I decide to watch. I tend to gravitate to their demeanor and their behavior and the things that they say. Maybe it's very pleasing, maybe it's calming. I don't know, whatever it is, but it is what's going to pull your customers to you. You are really what's selling your product or service at the end of the day. Is you. Your product and service need to be good, but you are the one that's going to get people to buy it that first time before they even know. They're going to trust you. So what's the benefit? When you become the go-to solution, your audience sees you as a guide, not as a seller. And I hope you guys kind of see me that way, because I always try to say, listen, don't believe anything I'm telling you. Go and do your own, research, but I'm going to show you where to go do the research at. And once you go and prove this stuff, scientifically, you say, okay, he does know what he's talking about. So I'm telling you the truth, but you need to prove it to yourself. All right. Sales happens because people trust you, not because you've convinced them. They trust you. Think about where you go shopping. Think about where you get your food. Think about where you buy your, automobile or wherever. You got to really trust folks if you're going to put in, the time to continue to go back to these stores or large purchases and things like that. All right. Here are 5 daily practices that can help us, in a service-based selling mindset, keep us in that mindset. Number 1 is ask. Here's the question. What does my audience struggle with today? Very simple. What am I helping my audience with today? Every time I get in front of this microphone, that question has already come up. What am I helping my audience with today? Why am I talking to my audience today about solve, don't sell, the heart of the offer? Why am I doing it? Because I know people who listen to this podcast and people in general want additional revenue streams. I do also believe that people want to help people. I believe that my audience specifically are a group of young, and when I say young, I mean from 25 to 85 professionals that are into developing, continuous learning, self-improvement, but they also want to take the light to the world. Okay. Now, in order to do that, I think you guys understand I need some resources. I need some revenue. So what's my deal? I'm trying to help you to understand how to do that, how to identify your talent, your passion, your work should be, and then couple it up with marketing so that you can put together an e-course, a digital book, become a public speaker, whatever it is that you want to do. My goal is to help you identify what it is and then monetize it. That's what I'm doing here today. So when you ask yourself every day, hey, what does my audience struggle with today? Solve the problem. And it doesn't have to be super complex. It can be a 1-sheet PDF. But is it solving the problem? Number 2, speak. Share your why. Share your why and how your product supports it. Number 3, reframe. Take one piece of content each day and rewrite it into a problem solution post. And I can't tell you how effective the social media piece has been for us once we start kicking in. That's why I said I wish we had done it earlier. Journal. Who am I here to help? And what do they need to hear? Who am I here to help? What do they need to hear? Put yourself in their shoes. If you were going to Google how to lose weight or quickest way to lose belly fat and all that kind of stuff, if you know how to do that stuff, okay, that's my potential audience. That's my customer. What do they need to hear from me today? All right, then lastly, repeat. Repeat this. My offer is an act of service, not persuasion. My offer is an act of service. I've identified a pain point. I have a valid solution. It's worked for me and others. And all I need to do is communicate its effectiveness to new and potential clients. Okay? All right. I said a mouthful today. I ran a little long, but what I want you to do is always go back and listen to the podcast again. Take notes. Get the workbook off of our Google Drive and use it because it can help you to really strategize, and you don't have to try to remember all this stuff. Okay? Listen, we'll be back tomorrow with day 17. So listen to this again, come back, and we'll see you on tomorrow. Thanks, guys.